there, stamping friends. It's Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. It's that time of the month again where I am featuring one of my fabulous teammates to share with you. I like to once a month have a featured stamper or a guest stamper that is somebody that is part of my demonstrator team to share with you because they've got such wonderful ideas. I want you to learn from them as well as learn from me. This month, we have Heidi Collins. She's been part of my Klompen Stampers team for many, many years now, and she is probably one of the best stampers that I have on my team. I'm like so excited. I could have her come and just do videos all the time for you, and I think you're gonna feel the same way. Her card making is incredible, and she's full of tips, and she's fun to watch, and I just know you're gonna learn some really fun tips from Heidi. She is sharing the Sending Smiles bundle with you today, and she's making it kind of fallish looking. This is a stamp set I've shared a lot. I know a lot of other people have shared a lot, and we've always used these fun, bright, summery colors because that's when the stamp set came out, but Heidi's making it more fall looking, and her cards are gorgeous. So in a second, we're gonna turn you over to Heidi. Now, as always, there's a corresponding blog post. You'll find the link right down there in the video description. I always say right down there because depending on the device, usually the description's below. Click on that link to go to the corresponding blog post. Over there, I'll show pictures of Heidi's cards, the ones that she makes for you on the video, plus a couple others. And I'll also give you information as to how to find Heidi. I would love you to go check out her blog and her YouTube as well, because she shares so many great projects, and I know you're gonna learn a lot from her as well. So make sure you go check out that blog post after you watch Heidi, and I just know you are gonna love the projects that Heidi shares with you. So we're gonna turn it over to Heidi Collins to share with you today. Enjoy.
Hello, friends. I'm Heidi from Onigo Stamping. I'm an independent demonstrator here in mid-Michigan, and I am really excited to share with you today. I want to start by giving a big, huge thank you to Jackie for inviting me to do this. I am really excited, and I can't wait to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and flip around my cameras, and we're going to get started talking about the projects that I'm going to share with you today. So here is the bundle that I am sharing with you. This is the Sending Smiles bundle, and I absolutely love it. It has these beautiful flowers, and what I really love is it has all of these great greetings that you can combine. It also has dies that match it, but one of my absolute favorite things about this bundle is that you don't need the dies. You can just use the stamps to make some fabulous, fabulous cards. So that is what I'm going to start with. I'm actually going to share two projects with you today. And the first one is just going to be a simple stamping project. So let me grab my supplies. And I just have some very, very simple, simple dimensions here. And we're going to be using these on both of the cards. So I have a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 inch crumb cake. And this is just going to be our card base. So I'm going to go ahead and just fold it on the score line. I scored it at 4 1/4. And of course, all of these dimensions are going to be over on Jackie's website, and you'll find the link to her website in the description to this video. And then I have a piece of basic white that is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and a piece of soft suede that is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So I'm going to set those two colored cardstocks aside for just a moment. And I'm going to start with some soft suede ink. I'm just going to open that up, and then I have my big sending stamp here. And I'm going to start by stamping this in what is going to look like the upper right corner, but is actually going to be the upper left corner. So I'm just going to start by stamping that right there. And we're actually going to turn our cardstock so that it goes sideways. So kind of something a little bit different. And then I want to grab my Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to stamp some of the stems for my flowers. Now, I have seen lots and lots of cards with this stamp set, especially last spring when the new annual catalog first came out. I saw lots and lots of cards with it, but they were all in very, bright spring colors. And I thought, now that we are headed into fall, let's take this and just use some more neutral colors on it, right? Make it kind of more fallish looking. Plus, I really love black-eyed Susans, and daisies. Those are my favorite flowers. So I thought we're going to make some black-eyed Susans and daisies on this card. So I have the stem on there. Now I'm going to grab some crushed curry, and I'm going to start stamping some flowers on here. I'm going to stamp one up here. And then I'm going to stamp this kind of like half one, which I think really looks like a black-eyed Susan. It's going to go over here. And then I'm actually going to stamp a little one down here, just like that. And then I can pull out my soft suede again, and we'll stamp the centers to these. So they each have a different center, and I hope that I got, you know what? I forgot to get one of them out. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it because I want that one. I want that flower to look right. But we'll stamp that center. And then I have this little center. And then I need to grab a block from my block basket. And you guys are going to see the mess inside of my stamp case. Because whenever I have pieces that I don't use, I just throw them in my stamp case because I figure I will maybe use them later. And I used to put them all in a bucket together. And I found that I never went to that bucket. I never took the things out of it and used it. Whereas if the pieces are in my stamp case, the next time I use that stamp, I'll sometimes look at those and go, yeah, that's the color I want for that. And then I can just take it out and use it. I found that I use those extra pieces a lot more often because I really do end up making quite a few extra pieces. I almost stamped that with crumb cake instead of soft suede. All right, we're going to add the center to this flower right here. There we go. There's our 3 flowers, and we could stop right there, but I wanted to add just a little bit of visual texture. That's what I call it, visual texture to the background. So I'm going to take my crumb cake, and I'm going to take the little stamp that says birthday wishes. And I am going to stamp this next to my flower. And sometimes I'm going to stamp it off, and sometimes I'm not going to stamp it off, and just kind of stamp it all the way along here. So we're just going to follow the flower, and we're going to go about halfway down. Just like that. And then we're going to come in over here, and we're going to continue on this side. So I'm going to stamp there. And just keep stamping all the way down the edge over here. And the only thing I'm really doing is just trying to stay off of the actual, this flower right here. A little piece of something on there. All right, so there is kind of just the front of our card. Now it's really just putting this together. So I'm going to take this, and I have some multi-purpose glue, some green glue, as I know Jackie calls it. And we're just going to put some green glue on the back of here. Maybe got a little bit too much in that corner, so I'm just going to take the tip and push it out, push it into the card. And then this is going to go on that piece of soft suede. And again, this is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And those dimensions are over on Jackie's website. And then I forgot to grab my dimensionals. So let me grab a sheet of dimensionals from over here, because we're going to pop this on some dimensionals because I have to put dimensionals on everything. My motto is, if it doesn't have dimensionals, is it really homemade? So I like dimensionals on everything. How about you? Do you like dimensionals? All right, and I'm just going to pull those backs off. Normally I'd use my take your pick tool. I'm not quite sure if it's here. I'll just grab them with my fingers. And then this is going to go right here on my card front. And now, just to jazz it up a little bit, I'm going to grab the festive pearls, which are in the July to December mini catalog. And I've used a ton of them already, but we're going to grab some of these gold ones. And I'm going to put one right here on the, oops, that is a silver one, not a gold one. You go back. All right, let's grab a gold one. And I'm going to put it on the eye in the sending. And then we're going to add just a couple more, maybe over here someplace. About there. And one up here. So, well, I don't like that. We'll peel that one off. We'll do one right there. There we go. So there is our first card, just a really simple, quick and easy stamps and ink and paper card, or SIP card, as Jackie likes to call it. So I'm going to go ahead and set that one aside, and we're going to get started on the second card, which is a lot more in depth. I do want to show you one more product I'm bringing in. I'm going to use the 6x6 Designer Series paper. Now, this comes in all of the different color collections, and I, of course, am using the neutrals to match my color palette for tonight. And it's really great. They're two different patterns. So there's two, what do I want to say? Two sheets of each, and there's a pattern on one side, and then there's flowers and a plaid on the other side. So you got stripes, polka dots, flowers, and plaid. Really, really awesome. And I have 3 of those for this card in crumb cake. I'm going to use the stripes and the flowers and the polka dots. And I actually want to start with that. So I have a piece. This is a piece of soft suede. It's the same size as the basic white on the other card that I did. Now, let's talk about mixing patterns for a minute. I know a lot of people get really nervous about mixing patterns because we were all taught when we were growing up, don't wear stripes with plaids, don't wear prints and plaids, that doesn't look good. So people get really nervous sometimes about mixing patterns, but I love mixing patterns. One of the ways to make sure that your pattern mixing comes off well is to make sure that you have some sort of a contrast between your patterns. So I could put the patterns like this, but you'll notice that would put those stripes and the polka dots right next to each other. And both of those are round and they're very small. So there's not a lot of contrast between them and it doesn't really pop. But if I take this stripe and I put the stripe in between them, now we have a nice straight, angular, bigger pattern that is contrasting with both of those rounded, smaller patterns. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to put the flowers on the bottom. We're going to start with that. And I'm going to just put them on here kind of jaunty because just for fun, right? And these are, I think, 1.5 inch by 3 inches. Again, the dimensions are over on the website. You'll definitely want to check it out. So, oops. I almost put my polka dots right where I didn't want them. Let's do the stripes. Almost did what I said I wasn't going to do. All right, I'm going to put my stripes in here. And now we can come in with the polka dots up on the top. All right. So there, just 3 kind of jaunty pieces on there. And now let's do some stamping. So let me pull in some different things. Let me see. I'm going to grab a piece of So Saffron cardstock. Now this is just a really nice, soft yellow color. And hold on just a second. See if I can do this. My phone is overheating. I'm recording this on my phone and it's overheating. So I just want to kind of hopefully take some measures to help it cool down. So that I can finish this video with you today. All right, and that created a little tiny hurricane, what do I want to say? Earthquake. A little earthquake for you because I hit the camera. I just need to clean up my stamps a little bit because I want to reuse these and I want to change the colors. So I'm just cleaning those up. Let's see, I need to do this one. So I have a piece of So Saffron cardstock, and I just like it. It's a nice soft yellow color, and I want to try to make some daisies. So I'm going to pull in my Versamark ink pad, and I'm going to stamp this flower right here. And then I'm going to stamp this little bottom of the flower right there. And I am going to emboss these in white. Now, I should have used my embossing buddy, and I totally forgot. And I also forgot to grab a piece of scrap paper. So let me grab a piece of scrap paper here. All right. Using this one earlier. Here we go. So now I just want to grab my white embossing powder, and we will clunk, 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 dump that all over it and then tap it off. This is going to help us make some pretty white daisies. I like to do this on the So Saffron because it just creates a nice backdrop that helps the white pop. All right. Now this might get just a little bit loud for a minute while I run my heat tool, but we're going to just heat this up so that the powder melts, and you can see it turns nice and bright and white and shiny. So pretty. Really fun. Now I want to cut these out. So I'm going to use the dies. Let's take, ooh, I just stuck my finger in my embossing. Shouldn't do that. It does take a minute to cool. All right, here's the dies. I just want to take a look at these. What's really cool is there's this really skinny one. We're going to use that. And then it can get layered on like this other outline one. If I put them the same direction. I've already cut the outline one, so it's ready to go. But we're going to cut the inside so I can show you that. There's some labels in here for all those sentiments. And then we got all the pieces to cut out our different flowers. So I'm going to grab the ones I need for my flowers and set that aside. Let's get ready to cut the sending as well. So I have another piece of So Saffron, and I just have a piece of the adhesive backing. And we're going to put this on the back of this So Saffron. This is just going to make it easier to glue down that little tiny piece. So I'm just putting this right all over the back. There we go. And now we can cut out the sending. So I'm going to pull in my mini cut and emboss machine. See if I can do this. My camera is a little bit close, but we'll see. So I'm just going to set this on my plate. So I have plate number 1 and then plate number 2 on top of that. And then I'm going to put another plate number 2 on. And we will just crank this through and hopefully not create too many earthquakes because it does make my table shake. So there is that. We'll set that aside and let's go ahead and cut out our flowers as well. So I just have my plates in there again, and I have my flowers. I'm going to put those right on top. And now I'm going to line up my dies on there. And what I want to do, I'm going to bring in a couple of sticky notes just to hold these in place. I'm just going to stick that down. I need some smaller sticky notes, but that's okay. And then we'll stick this one in too. You can see that. We'll put this one on here. And I will stick this down with a sticky note as well. So there we go. And now I'll go ahead and put my other second plate on there and we'll run this through. You know what? I want to put the sticky note straight because otherwise it's not going to go through. There we go. Oh, look at that. I got ink all over my fingers. I think it was Granny Apple Green ink. How many of you get ink all over your fingers? I think everyone, we all raise our hands, right? But, chunk, chunk, chunk. All right. I have a little bit of hand sanitizer on my desk, and I'm just going to rub that on my hands, and that is going to take off almost all of that bright green ink. So another tip I learned from Jackie, because Jackie is always filled with tons of tricks. And we'll just pop these off. And there are my pretty daisies. Let's give them some centers, shall we? So what is really nice, I love this die. Look at this. It cuts out the bottom, but if I can get it in the camera, it leaves a spot for the center. I like to stamp the center second on this one just to make sure I get it in the right spot, right? So we'll go ahead and just stamp that right on there. And this time I'm stamping the centers in crushed curry. So they're yellow because we're making daisies, right? So there's some daisies. Now I did, before I got started today, just to make life easier, things are falling over here. I went ahead and I cut out another one of those. So I have 3 flowers, and I also went ahead and I cut the stems that I needed just to make things a little bit easier. And I cut one of the labels and I stamped it with birthday wishes. So we're all ready to kind of put this card together. Now I'm going to take off that sending. I'm not going to worry too much about saving that little dot because one, I never can save them. They run away from me. So I don't even try. I don't even try anymore. I don't know about you. Do you keep those little dots? Because I just can't. But that's okay. We're going to put a dot on our eye. Don't worry. We're just going to do something different. So I'm going to pop out all of these center bits. And then we have this piece of soft suede. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to peel off the backing on here if I can. It's not always easy. Let's see if I can get it. Sometimes if you take your pick tool, it helps, but sometimes it doesn't. There we go. And there's going to be a second half. I'm going to have to get started too, but there's one part. You peel that off. And now we'll get the second bit off. There we go. And it is kind of like pulling itself out. So when we glue this down, we're going to kind of have to squish it back where it goes because it's so skinny that it likes to pull itself, likes to stretch out like a cat. All right. We'll just put this right on here. So you can see I'm just kind of, bending it back in place, getting it centered in the center of my soft suede. And there is that adhesive sheets. It does have a little bit of give. So if you don't, push it down too hard and let it sit, you can still kind of pick it up and move it a little bit. There's my sending. All right. So now I have this piece of soft suede that I already put my designer series paper on. And then I have a piece of crumb cake. And I'm going to adhere my soft suede to my crumb cake with just a little bit of multi-purpose glue. And that just goes right on the front. Really little sliver of a border there. And then we're going to put our flowers on here. So this one, see about right there. You just give it, I just like to put a little adhesive in all like the big spots. This is going to go here. And we're going to take the other stem and put some adhesive on that as well. And again, just sticking it in the big spots. Don't worry too much about the little bits. So that's just going to go over here, just like that. And now we're going to put the flowers on with dimensionals. Give them a pop. So we'll start with this one. It's going to go over here, just like that. And then we're going to grab this one. And it's going to go up on the other side. And make sure you stick around because once I'm done with this card, I have some more cards to share with you too. So there's the other one. And then we have one more. I don't know if I need some minis on this one. Yeah, let's grab a couple minis. Find my sheet of minis here in my stash. Oh, that is not minis. Maybe my minis are missing because I just started a mini. All right, well, they took a walk. My minis went on vacation. So we'll just go with one. It'll be fine. All right, and then this one goes right here. There's those three. And then we're going to put down our sending, and we're going to put this down with multi-purpose glue or green glue if you want. And just putting it in the center. And then this, we're going to kind of put this at an angle on our card, like that. And then we want to put this on. Now this would have been really good with some minis. Those minis and their vacation. Well, we'll just grab my scissors and I'm just going to cut a strip off the edge of my bigger sheet of dimensionals. This will be good anyway because it'll give it a nice strong base. Just like that. And then this is going to go on here straight-ish. I don't know about you, but whenever I try to do things straight, it ends up being straight-ish. So there we go. There's that. Now let's grab some more dimensionals. We're going to put this on our card base. I have another crumb cake card base, just like the first card. So we'll just stick our 6 dimensionals on there. I like to use 6. Some people use 5. Some people use 4. I like 6. Peel those backs off. And my piece of crumb cake, that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We'll just give that a good crease with my bone folder. And then this is going to go right on the front. So see, you can see it's got a very similar layout to the first card I did. And then we're going to add some fun stuff to this too. Oh, no. Thought I suddenly found my minis. But no. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dot my eye with one of these festive pearls. Told you I didn't have to worry about those dots. And then I'm just going to add a couple more up here. And there is our second card. Isn't that fun? So you can see the first one and the second one. Kind of similar, kind of different. Now let me show you the other couple cards I got. So there's those. Here is one. And this one, I stamped it white on crumb cake, and then I made the center be the soft suede. And I added some of that designer series paper in the background. I actually stamped all these flowers. There's another stamp in the set that these little flowers are from, and I embossed those all. So you can just see just kind of lots of fun stuff going on there. And then this one was super fun. Just kind of made a whole bouquet of flowers and maybe wheat. I don't know. Kind of trying to make like a fall bouquet out of it, right? And added a little bit of twine in there. And again, we got those festive pearls. So really fun. And then my last card. All right. So this one says sending comfort and strength. Now I have to tell you, what I was going for was kind of a wheat field. Where I grew up, we had a wheat mill in town. And so fall always makes me think of the smell of wheat. And comfort makes me think of home, right? So I was like, well, what makes me feel comfort, right? So I thought a wheat field. And so I picked that comfort and strength with there and tried to kind of create a wheat field in the background using some crumb cake that I just stamped off and stamped on there. So something kind of different. I don't know. All right. Thank you all so much for letting me join you today. And thank you again to Jackie for inviting me to do this. Y'all have a fabulous afternoon. Bye-bye.